Pi Network just made the worst decision possible. The core team dropped a bombshell on August 2nd that has thousands of pioneers ready to quit forever. And you know what? I'm about to expose exactly why this new 200% mining rate lockup program is actually a desperate trap that could destroy everything we've worked for. Stay until the end because I'm revealing the 3 critical reasons why even loyal pioneers are calling this the final straw, plus the shocking truth about why Tier 1 exchanges like Binance are still avoiding Pi Network despite it being listed on smaller platforms. Follow my Telegram and Facebook pages right now, links in the description, because what I'm about to tell you will never be discussed openly by other Pi creators who are scared to speak the truth. You know what? I've been inside this community for years, watching every move. And I'm going to give you the unfiltered reality check that could save you from making the biggest mistake of your Pi journey, including the insider information about what's really happening behind closed doors at Pi Network headquarters. Here's what's really happening behind the scenes that has every pioneer talking. And honestly, I'm shocked at how tone-deaf this timing is. On August 2nd, the Pi Network core team dropped what I consider their most controversial announcement yet. A new incentive program promising up to 200% higher mining rates. But you know what? The catch is so problematic that I can't believe they didn't see this backlash coming. You have to lock up your Pi tokens permanently with no way to reverse that decision, and I genuinely think this feels like desperation. Now you might be thinking, higher mining rates sound great, what's the problem? But you know what? As someone who's been watching this space closely, I believe the timing of this announcement is absolutely terrible and shows a complete disconnect from community sentiment. The community is already drowning in frustration from stalled migrations, year-long KYC delays, and a token price that honestly makes me question whether the core team understands basic market dynamics. Think about it from a pioneer's perspective for a moment, because I've been there myself feeling this exact frustration. You know what? Imagine you've been faithfully mining Pi for years like I have, waiting patiently for promises that keep getting pushed back, and then suddenly you're asked to lock away your tokens with no clear utility and no liquidity guarantee. In my opinion, it's like being asked to put your money in a bank that doesn't give you an ATM card and hoping they'll figure out banking later. The frustration runs even deeper when you consider that while Pi Domains and App Studio have now been completed, the real problem remains unsolved. The lack of real utility and adoption, and honestly, this drives me crazy, because having the tools means nothing if people aren't actually using them. You know what? I genuinely believe that completing these infrastructure pieces should have been followed immediately by major exchange partnerships and real-world use cases, but instead we're getting lockup programs while the actual market adoption sits stagnant. To me, this feels like building a beautiful highway that nobody drives on and hoping traffic will magically appear. But here's where I think the core team is making their biggest mistake. And you know what? This is probably the most important point I'll make in this entire video. The fact that Pi is only listed on smaller exchanges, while Tier 1 platforms like Binance, Coinbase, and Kraken continue to avoid it, tells me that there are serious underlying issues that lockup programs won't solve. In my honest opinion, asking people to lock up tokens when the only trading options are on lesser-known exchanges feels like asking someone to commit to a relationship when you won't even introduce them to your friends and family. You know what? I truly believe that securing Tier 1 exchange listings should be the absolute top priority, and here's why I think this makes perfect sense. While Pi is available on some smaller exchanges, the real liquidity and institutional confidence comes from major platforms like Binance and Coinbase. And without that validation, lockup programs feel premature and risky. Instead, I feel like we're being asked to make long-term commitments, while Pi remains relegated to second-tier trading platforms. And frankly, that makes me question whether the core team understands what real market adoption looks like. The community backlash has been swift and fierce, and honestly, I saw this coming from a mile away because the sentiment has been building for months. You know what? I've been reading through forums and social media, and the frustration is real. People feel taken for granted, and in my experience, that's when projects either wake up or lose their communities forever. I genuinely think the core team needs to listen to these concerns instead of pushing forward with new initiatives. What makes this situation even more complex is the psychology behind it all. And this is where I really empathize with fellow pioneers. You know what? When I think about the years I've invested in Pi Network, being asked for even more commitment without seeing tangible results feels like a relationship where one person keeps making promises they don't keep. I believe it's completely natural to want proof of progress before making additional sacrifices. And right now, I honestly don't blame anyone for feeling hesitant. But here's my take on the bigger picture. And you know what? I'm trying to be fair to both sides here, even though I have serious concerns. I think the core team's lockup decision might signal they're preparing for something significant behind the scenes, but I also believe their communication strategy has been terrible and has created unnecessary tension at the worst possible time. In my opinion, transparency would solve 90% of these problems overnight. The real question that every pioneer needs to ask themselves is whether they still believe in the vision, and honestly, this is something I wrestle with myself. You know what, I've seen successful projects go through rough patches, but I also know that the ones that survive are those that maintain honest dialogue with their communities and actually deliver on promises. My gut tells me Pi Network is at a crossroads right now. So what should you do as a pioneer? You know what, my honest advice is to stay informed, trust your instincts, and don't let anyone pressure you into decisions that don't feel right. I believe in making choices based on facts rather than fear or hype. And right now, I think the smartest move is to demand better communication and real progress before committing to anything new. The Pi Network story is still being written. Every setback, whether it's another missed roadmap target or a slower than expected rollout of core features, can be the nudge that finally pushes the project from potential to substance. I want to see Pi mature into a platform that offers clear, tangible benefits to the people who've mined, tested, and evangelized it from day one. Tough moments often reveal the gaps between vision and execution, and I'm rooting for the core team to treat each gap as a to-do list rather than a talking point. That said, real growth only happens when a community balances optimism with accountability. It's on us, the pioneers, to keep asking hard questions, demanding transparent timelines, and celebrating genuine milestones while calling out empty hype. Supporting progress doesn't mean ignoring red flags. It means rewarding concrete steps like functional apps, external integrations, and clearer tokenomics while pushing back on vague coming soon promises. If we can hold that line together, we'll give Pi its best shot at becoming more than an experiment in mobile mining and turn it into a network that actually delivers on its early promise. If this honest analysis resonated with you, please hit that like button because I need to know that speaking truthfully about Pi Network is valuable to you. You know what? I want to hear your real thoughts in the comments. Are you planning to lock up your Pi or are you waiting for better answers like I am? Subscribe for more unfiltered Pi Network coverage because I promise to keep telling you exactly what I think, even when it's uncomfortable.